Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome live to Croke Park Studios for the latest episode of The View, brought to you by our friends at Allianz. Every Monday, we're going to be reviewing all the biggest action across the GAA landscape, so make sure to block out your diaries for 1 o'clock on the YouTube channel of GAA+. We'll be reviewing the biggest games, the biggest stories, and with some of the biggest names in GAA. And on that point, we've three legends joining us today, live underneath the Hogan stand. Eoin Kelly, riding high from Tipperary, two-time All-Ireland winner. Noel Connors, friend of GAA+, an Allianz League winner back in 2015, many moons ago. And Pádraig, he's buzzing after a Mayo victory, and the Andy Moran reign is up and running yesterday in Salt Hill. Lads, we're looking outside Jones's Road earlier on, sideways rain, lashing out of the heavens. It's about -4 out. What was January training like back in your day, on?
Well, I'll tell you, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But you know what? When you got the 12 or 10 weeks into the legs, into the body, you felt a different person, like, you know, and just have to do it. But, you know, it is getting tougher. It is getting tougher. And what's required nowadays is what probably is only half what we were doing back in the day.
noughties.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so it's 5-6 nights a week, I'd say. And look, once you wake up in the morning now, you're thinking like an inter-county player, and that's just the way it is. You're a professional player, more or less, in everything you do, and you're thinking about that evening meal preparation and all that. But look, what they go through is, people don't see it unless you go through it. It's torture.
Phenomenal. Noel, you strike me as a man.
You started about coming back playing like junior hurling 5 minutes ago.
You would have been in the gym every day over Christmas, were you?
I did a small bit. Not major now. It was sit down with the kids and enjoy it, you know. But I know you do get out, as Owen said, like, you can see the lads now that are out training, and we're lucky enough to have a decent facility within the club, like, where we'd have a gym, and a lot of even the senior club lads, they're doing a lot of training at this time of the year.
The levels have gone up.
Yeah, and like you're looking at them, and you're like, obviously you admire what they do, but then you'd have a couple of the senior and the county lads come in and doing their thing, like, and again, there's vast difference between what they are doing and what everyone else is doing. But you don't necessarily enjoy those kind of 10 to 12 weeks. And I suppose when we were playing,
miss it now?
No, to be honest, I don't miss being gone. And we were just talking about this off air. You don't miss constantly being gone. Like, you're always on time. As Owen said, you're getting up in the morning and you're thinking, what time train is that? And then you're trying to work back from when I need to be in work and what time I need to leave at and what I need to have in the bag for lunch and that type of thing. You don't miss that aspect of it, but you definitely miss, you know, the summer when you're getting into places like Welsh Park or going to the stadium or wherever in Thurles and pinging the ball around. And
the thing you miss, though, if you miss any of that 10 or 12 weeks, you miss 2 or 3 weeks of that, you are behind.
Oh, you're massively.
You do feel it. So you want to get that done. You know what I mean? That's the thing. You do pay a big price.
Lads, I thought it was great doing my January Steps Challenge, and then I heard what Pádraig is doing. You're climbing Mount Everest in a few months, so your training is well and truly underway.
I'd say, pre-season, this is probably the hardest pre-season I've ever had. But that's cool, it's different, it's completely unique. It's not like the slog as you're on about. It's its own slog now, out in your own head, working hard in places you probably shouldn't be, but it's good crack. And to be honest, I kind of enjoy the pre-season at times when you're caught up in that bubble, like, especially for fellas like me that wouldn't be the fastest. It keeps the fast fellas slow on them heavy ground. You can kind of keep up with them for a couple of weeks, but exactly to say what you were saying there earlier, like, you miss a week or two there and you are under serious pressure. It's big prizes to be got in the early stages of season, or early stages of year.
Enough from us and our pre-season routines. The Allianz Hurling Leagues did kick off over the weekend. Both the All-Ireland finalists were in action. Tipperary, the Premier County, are on a roll. They got off to a win against the Tribesmen in horrible conditions on Saturday night. And Cork, under Ben O'Connor, bounced back against Waterford. Let's see how they all got on.
Daniel Loftus, nice ball inside to Jason Rabbit. Great combination, over the goal! One back is centre-half forward, Andrew Ormond. Nice little 1-2, chance of a goal here. Brilliant! And pace and momentum. They look at the goalposts. They've found their mojo.
Numadini Marshall for reach. Here's Coke, Declan Dalton. Shugri, Sean O'Donoghue. Nation Cooley, Dunson, Chance, Better, Hudson, O'Connor, Keane. Tour Chef, Hogan, Neely. Estechan, Somebody, Connolly. Sinead, Readable, and out. Connolly, Fox, Anna, Fruiger, Fodigan. Well, Bottoon and Son, agus Seachon Alan Connolly, Tá Barkley Hánach, Isteachny Buckley and Son, agus Dinigan Camán a Losco, Tá Sundianta, like William Buckley.
On Tipperary got off to a victorious start in diabolical conditions in Semple Stadium. What did you make of the performance from Liam Call's men? Didn't seem to be any hangover from their incredible All-Ireland win last year.
No, they didn't. I thought it was a very good performance. You know, they went toe-to-toe with Galway, mud bat in Semple Stadium, very bad conditions. You know, they stayed in the game. I thought they were tackling really, really hard throughout. Their intensity levels seemed to be still there. You know, you had 10 starters from the All-Ireland final, the previous All-Ireland final. So I really liked the look at Tipperary, and I think to win the game going down the home straight, that's where Liam Cahill will really turn around and say, do you know what, great performance, like the intensity, but to really win the game when it was pressure time, a couple of new players came off the bench, Jake Morris was exceptional throughout. I think that's what he'll be very, very pleased with.
Yeah, Noel, is it surprising to see there's no hangover at all? The intensity, as Owen mentioned, the Tipperary were playing at, they've hit the ground running. Is that sustainable, I suppose, with the schedule ahead for 2026?
And this is probably something that Tip have been maybe slightly criticised, bar last year when they won Ireland. The previous 2 years before that, people were highly critical of Tip being incredibly fit at this time of the year and consequently didn't necessarily transition into the championship. I think Owen said a couple of key points. I thought Jake Morris was outstanding. I think he got like 8 points and he got 5 of them from play. And I think even going down the home stretch, he probably won 3 or 4 really, really important frees. I think after Stakelum got the goal, which was like 64 minutes, I think they outscored Galway 1-4 to 2 points. And that was probably the key thing for Tip. And it goes back, ironically enough, to the former point around the fitness. This time of the year is trying to get like miles in the legs and trying to build that. And obviously there's a psychological element as well, like because you don't know who you're going to meet in the latter ends of the championship ball going to plan. So there's definitely that element of you're trying to make Tip in Thurles Stadium a place where it's very, very difficult to go. Yeah, absolutely. So there's loads of different aspects.
Outside of the intensity and the fitness levels, which was, look, they ticked that box under Liam Cahill. Was there anything different tactically? Did we see anything new from the All-Ireland champions? Any tweaks from last summer's run?
I wouldn't, like, it was very difficult. Again, the conditions obviously had a huge implication on the match. So, like, I think we have to take that with a pinch of salt. But I do think that at maybe the first, maybe 30, maybe 35 minutes, I felt that they followed Galway a lot more than what they would have traditionally.
Okay.
And in the second half, I think they went back, ironically enough, to what we've seen Liam Cahill's team doing, which is half back line sitting back into nearly midfield. You have their 2 midfielders sitting in nearly to half back, and then you're leaving Brian O'Mara in that maybe uncontroversial.
Yeah, if we look at clips of this, you mentioned one of the great Tipperary forwards yourself, Jake Morris, had a standout day. But here's some of the pieces you're speaking about now.
Yeah, the key thing here is, I suppose, first of all, Galway had the ball and they ran with possession. But when the ball is turned over, the key thing for Tip is always to get their midfielders back behind the ball. So it's that thing of goal side. And that's, we could see in the first half, this happened quite a lot, where obviously Brian O'Mara played as a sweeper and it was probably a bit of a controversial decision for the All-Ireland final, which worked out really well for Tip, which allowed Galway consequently to actually go wide a lot of the time. In the first half, they didn't actually follow Pádraig Mannion, and Pádraig Mannion got a lot of ball and allowed Fahy to dictate a lot of the play, and they struggled. And this is what we're talking about, the space that Galway would have hit in the first half. But Tip obviously set themselves and set their standards then to actually chase the man with the ball, but also get back the field. And we saw this a lot of the time where once it turned over the ball, they were straight on to the attack and getting runners straight through the middle, which for me was a big change in point. As in, we saw the likes of Joe Caesar getting back the field. We saw the likes of Stakem running back even from corner forward where his position was held. We saw Orman going back into that central forward position where he's really the first person into the midfield to get onto the ball. So we saw what was the resemblance of the All-Ireland final, we'll say, structure, what they played with. In the first half, it was slightly different.
Yeah, I think they were smart too. Brian O'Mara's interview after the game, he said, look, we looked at the conditions, we knew that we needed to get direct ball in quick. Yeah. So they are able to mix it up. And John McGrath last year wasn't running left, running right, winning ball. He was just, when the ball came in, 50-50, old style, he'd win his ball because a lot of those Tipperary guys, their touch, their hands, they're exceptional. So they'll win the ball here. They will win it to Jake Morris, Andrew Ormers when they hit space. But
the more so, and you mentioned it, Jake Morris, he was standout, exceptional on Saturday night. Some of his clips, just talk us through this.
Yeah, but no one mentioned it.
A young Eoin Kelly.
5 points in play, but no, look, he's out centre forward, and I think Liam Sheedy probably said it in his interview. He used to be bottled in corner forward, but Liam Cahill has given him the leadership in that forward line at 11. But even 1 or 2 of his scores, you look at this score here, that's coming up along the sideline. he gently strokes that ball over the bar. If you hit that at pace, that ball skews off left or right. But it's just his touch, it's his intelligence. He's a team player, like, and once Jake Morris gets the ball in hand, he'll either create or score, or he'll score. But I think what Jake Morris brings to that attack is that direct running. Now, you might not have saw much of it the other night in those conditions, but he breaks the line. And when you can see it, when he gets the ball inside the 45-yard line, it's like he's thinking goal. And that's the way that team would have been coached with Liam Cahill and Mikey Beavens from underage days, minor, 20s, up along. There he goes. You see head down, even misses it but wins a free. And the amount of possessions that he handles, and anyone that analyses...
Leadership, wasn't it, really?
Pure leadership, but he's shown for the ball, but it's his skill levels, but he also it's his strength. Besides of his legs now, he's powering through the mud in January, and he's paced in it.
Back in your cornerback days, how would you have dealt with that? Would you fancy that challenge?
Do you know what? And when I was watching it there, and again I watched the match on Saturday night, he has the same running style as Lar Corbett. They're completely different players, but his angles. The reason he makes so much room is the way in which he moves. He doesn't necessarily stand still and run direct at the ball. He's always going left or right, which means it's very, very difficult to try and get a block or a hook on him.
Yeah, and I'd say he's central to puckouts as well, actually creating space for somebody else. Like, so I think that's the team environment that he has bought into. He will run all day for somebody else.
Do you feel that the All-Ireland win has kind of released any sort of pressure around Tip? You know, they'd had a bad couple of championships before that, but is Jake Morris a symptom of the confidence an All-Ireland win gives a team?
Yeah, it brings momentum, and it does bring you the confidence, and it allows then you even a poor result or two in the league. There's no negativity going to follow it, so it does give you that freedom just to express yourself. And Tipperary in a good position, and to win your first league game at home in Semple Stadium, the crowd now are going to get behind the team again, and their confidence levels will be higher from the last couple of seasons.
If we flip on to the other side, Micheál Donoghue back in with Galway after, nearly 9 years after their All-Ireland win. What did we see from them? Anything different on the Galway side of things? And I suppose, what's their ceiling this year? What did Galway do in the championship?
It's a strange one, because there's been a massive transition. Even last year, watching them and being at matches where they were playing, it was very difficult to try and get a handle on what they were trying to do. Yeah. And without trying to fall back on the same argument, they relied a lot on Conor Whelan to win primary possession. And if they weren't winning it in the half-forward line, he was brought a half-forward. And then when it was going into the full-forward line, they weren't winning it. So they wanted Conor Whelan in two places. And anyone that has watched Conor over the last decade or more, his probably best position is closer to goal, because when he gets the ball in his hand, he's like the fella beside me, he's hard to get it off. And he's incredibly athletic for a fella that doesn't necessarily look like. He's really strong but well able to move. Whereas this year it appears they have gone down this route of trying to expand the field. You could even see it there in some of the tip buckets. You have Fahy on goal, who's nearly like a quarterback, where he'll actually run out for scores, he'll run out for frees and look for it to try and create space. Pádraig Mannion must have got on 20, 30 possessions on Saturday night, merely the fact that they kind of mirrored what Brian O'Mara was doing and Tip didn't mark. Now, what they're trying to do is seem to widen the pitch where they can maybe use the speed inside. But I found the big thing for them is young Jason Rabbit inside. I think
Is he an able deputy for Conor Whelan? That's what Galway fans are hanging their hat on.
If we watch, I was very impressed with this kid. He's still under 21, still under 20. But the ball that comes in, he's able to catch it high, but also he's able to catch it low. And these are terrible conditions. And able to catch it behind a player, which again is not an easy thing to do in these conditions.
He's got that physique for inside.
Yeah, but generally speaking, and without trying to be stereotypical here, that's a catch over Mikey Breen, possibly one of Tip's best players in the last 3 or 4 years, consistency-wise. He catches the ball over him now, poor decision. But the ball is coming across here, angle ball, puts the ball, snaps it, and watch this. He nearly looks away to kind of mislead the defender. But this is very nice. See this now. This is for me now. This is incredible. This little touch with his foot to get it up, but still has the composure to give the ball inside him. Again, great block. But look at this.
Pádraig Joyce is going to be looking for him.
Absolutely, but he still has the vision to see the runner coming through. So he's a huge person.
Did you have that one in the locker?
What I am looking forward to here is the likes of Jason Rabbit, Aaron Nyland playing alongside the experienced players. Because I suppose that was an inexperienced Galway forward line that was nearly there last Saturday night. And I think that's the thing, and I've seen that in the past. Good managers, what they tend to do is they'll play one or two players that they're trying out with a couple of experienced guys. And maybe that's something that Micheál Donoghue will learn as he goes on in the league, that he'll have a stronger team the next day. And by the end of the league, he'll know his championship team. That's probably something he didn't know
Yeah.
last season. But the likes of Aaron Ireland, how would he play off Conor Whelan? That could be a different dynamic altogether. How would Cathal Mannion, maybe at 11, play alongside Aaron Ireland and Jason Rabbit? You'd have a different dynamic. So they have potential. You asked earlier on their ceiling for the season. If they could get to an Ireland semi-final and get back to Croke Park, I think it would be a massive year for them, and that'd mean that the curve is going up. But
Is there a Leinster Championship in this team?
I can't see it this year.
No.
Really?
I can't see it this
Okay.
year. I just think Kilkenny will grind them out like they do, and I think Dublin, for me, are a team that, after getting to Ireland semi-final last year, Leinster final the year before, they just need to kick on and see how can a Leinster Championship be won.
Well, like I said, the other All-Ireland finalists were in action yesterday. We can't put it off any longer, lads. Waterford, no, tough day at the office down in
What you're
Portland.
going to give us to Owen now, given his past experience.
Oh, and you've been involved with them the last couple of years.
the last
Would it have
few
been
years,
any different if you
and
were still there?
I enjoyed it. You know, we had this chat just before air. Like, it's unfortunate for Peter Creeley, the first round of the league, and he's probably missing maybe 2/3 of his team.
And a tough place to go as well.
And a tough place to go, based on where Cork were coming from. You know, I suppose, and I was just thinking about coming up in the car, Waterford hit 117. I know last year, having been involved, probably the average score was in around 121. That was the last day against Cork Championship last year, 121 against Tip, 20 points against Limerick, beat Clare the first day, scoring 223. So that was 29 points. So you have to be getting near the 30 points, league or championship. Forget about Saturday night, it was a mud bath everywhere. But so Peter was down with a lot of his scoring forwards, Stephen Bennett, Dessie Hutchinson, Patrick Fitzgerald. The Ballygunner lads, 2 of those I mentioned, not included as well. So it was a tough ask, first
They
round.
don't have the depth really to replace those.
No, and that's possibly one of the biggest challenges for Peter, in the sense that we haven't been incredibly successful underage. And success breeds success. We see with Tip, we've seen it with Kilkenny for generations. And that's the thing. But in fairness, when you see the likes of Callum Lyons coming back on, when you see Mikey Kiley coming on, they definitely change aspects and dynamics of the game from their experience. Like we were discussing, if you look at Tip Day 10 starters, a lot of the teams that done really well over the weekend had double-digit starters from the previous year, whereas Waterford didn't have that affordability.
Flip on to the other side. Look, Cork are probably, they were the massive story last year. For 95% of the season, they were probably the best team in the country.
Yeah.
But
Peter Creeley will be disappointed, though, I think, that the Waterford guys stood off a lot of the Cork players, because...
But is that inexperience?
Probably is. Maybe
too
your
much
two
respect?
cornerbacks, Daniel Lawler and
Yeah.
Conor Keane, probably playing their first league starts. And like you could see at some stage the hands were out, as if to say, is there anybody down the field working hard enough? Because Cork, they could look up, pinpoint a diagonal ball in.
It's a hard place to be.
And it's a hard place to be. You know all about it. So I think that's the disappointing thing,
Yeah.
that they feel that they didn't wire into Cork, get physical, lay their intensity, lay their bodies on them. And that's something that he'll review. And lucky for him, he has a week to turn that around. You're not waiting 6 months or 8 months.
That's the beauty of the National Leagues, obviously. But on the other side, for Ben O'Connor, his first game, it's the first time we've seen Cork since that second half from hell outside last year in the All-Ireland final. Did we see anything new from Ben O'Connor? We know his style, that brilliant Cork team in the noughties, that running game, the athleticism they have. They've obviously lost Patrick Horgan this year, but they seem to just pick off where most of their season finished off in 2025.
There's definitely been aspects of it that have changed, even from watching the match. They seem to use the channels a hell of a lot more than what they would have, say, last year and also the year beforehand. We probably come accustomed to Cork going long and down the middle to Brian Hayes and having Hoggy and someone running off and trying to create space that way. Whereas we saw it this week that they actually used the channels a lot. But also what they did here was, we can see that we have Coleman going there, but also Downey. And what they're trying to do is create space. If they create space, hopefully they're hoping that the forwards will follow them from Waterford, which they did. And it's pockets on the sides which allowed the likes of Fitzgibbon and various other players to get into, and then it releases the ball inside. So again, that's Jamie Barron running after Fitzgibbon. Jamie Barron is in a terrible position there because all of a sudden Coleman goes back, and whoever's on him at the time will obviously follow him, because they know he's a player that's well able to, control the ball, get the ball, and he's also has a really good delivery. So you have to push us on someone like Coleman. And it's the same with Rob Downey, because if he gets the ball in his hand, he's likely what he done a couple of years ago in the All-Ireland final, where he runs straight through the middle and he can ping a top corner.
How are they working their scores across the game, across the pitch?
Cork.
Causing that?
It's just their diagonal balls.
Yeah, it's the diagonal balls.
It's their touch. Their touch is unbelievable. Ben O'Connor was player with an edge, but his hurling was unbelievable.
Yeah,
his touch,
incredible.
He's running, taking on the man. You could drill a ball at him, he'd control the first touch, jink over the bar. And you can see that with the player. And I'd say that's the kind of player that he will favour, but he'll also want a guy that's willing to do that work.
But he did get
a lot, lads, doesn't
but
he?
yeah, but he did get criticised. Like Cork got criticised last year for being one-dimensional because they didn't change their tack. They used a lot of high ball. Ronan O'Mara obviously was incredible in the Ireland final. Nobody expected Tip to go with the sweeper with Brian O'Mara, and all of a sudden they went high down the middle all the time. And it just didn't work. So we can even see it here, where Cork have gone with this kind of thing of where if you win it, you need to have a runner facing you that you can pop it off, and it's the person that's running towards the goal is the shooter. So Sean O'Donoghue gets the ball, he looks up, he sees someone, Decky Dalton, lovely touch here, straight, and it's literally one touch, bang, and it's over the bar, or in this case, it's a wide. But that has changed, because before, if you were getting the ball in that position, in your own full back line, you're looking to maybe the half back line, and then it's delivery high. But whereas now, it seems they're gone to the channels, but also they're looking for the runner to come straight through, and it's the person facing the ball that's actually going to be popped to, which is a very different Cork style to what we've seen maybe last year and the year before.
Another aspect of their play.
Absolutely.
And
that was a criticism.
that pitch that they were playing on, that's championship pitch. That
It's slightly different to Semple
So,
Stadium.
like,
That's a real forwards answer.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Like Ben O'Connor said,
okay.
they got an AVB game a week before that, so the pace that ball was moving, just Waterford weren't used to playing on that surface this time of the year. And Cork's movement, Cork's touch, and how their execution was incredible in that first half. I think they had 10 shots, 10 points.
Yeah,
and they hit the ground running. It's a great start for Ben O'Connor.
With Pádraig Horgan has gone from Cork, one of the absolute icons of modern hurling. He wasn't really missed yesterday. Willie Buckley steps up, one of these younger players coming through. Is that nearly the exact opposite where Waterford are at, with that probably lack of depth, whereas Cork have?
Yeah, I think as the year goes on, you might see Pádraig Horgan's absence from the free-taking side.
Okay.
You know, now I know it didn't get too many close-in frees. Maybe yesterday, Alan Connolly probably hit 4 frees and got 1 from 4, whereas usually Pat Horgan is a 10 free man, 10 out of 10. So that's something that Ben O'Connor will have to look at throughout the league campaign to get his consistent free taker. But his presence, you wouldn't miss his presence, but yes, they had it all their own way, and I suppose there is bigger tests going to come.
Well, they're off to a good start, lads. And look, to wrap up the hurling piece for today's show, we're going to introduce a wild card every week. So both our hurling analysts. Owen, you were late in, so you can go first. What we're looking ahead to this weekend's action. So we have Galway versus Cork, Offaly host Tip, Waterford are hosting Limerick, and what should be a tasty game. Antrim against Clare, Down and Wexford, and Dublin versus Kildare. We want you to give us maybe the upset of the weekend and why. A bit of context, Owen. Off you go.
Okay, Colin, can you give me those Division 1B fixtures?
Division 1B, okay. Antrim versus Clare, Down versus Wexford, and the Dubs, unlucky down in Ennis yesterday, they're at home to Kildare. I think 1A is probably more suited for the wild card.
I'd say for a wild card maybe, and it's not even because they're going to be at home. Galway. I'll throw Galway out there at home
take out Cork?
against Cork. At home.
And why? Come on.
And why? Pierce Stadium this time of the year is...
It was lovely yesterday for the football.
Is a hurricane, so it is. It was lovely yesterday, and it's a very hard place to go. It's a very hard place to go. And this time, 12 months ago, Tip went there and annihilated Galway. I don't think that's going to happen this season. Galway look to be more prepared. And we're
going to hold you to that. Noel, over to you.
That was actually the answer I wrote down, right?
We'll change it. You had an hour of preparation.
I saw your answer.
Do you know what, right?
30 seconds before we went on air.
Let's go with this, right? I think what'll be an interesting one is Antrim and Clare. Now, I'm not saying that Clare are going to get bet, but I think it'll be...
Well, that's the wild card.
But like, I'll tell you why,
That's
right?
what we're talking
There's so much context.
So Antrim to beat Clare.
Not to beat them, but I think it'll be a lot closer. I'll tell you why. Listen, right? The Davy
you're
factor,
backing Clare to beat Antrim. That's not a wild card.
The Davy factor is an interesting one here.
Okay.
Because obviously he was hugely emotive after the Wexford result. Mark Fanning's goal last minute, they lose by a point. Okay. But also the Clare Davy thing for him managing them and then obviously leaving, going with other teams. I think that'll be an interesting dynamic. Do I think Clare win? Yes, but I think that's one to watch. Do you know what? I'll put it on Antrim just to keep you happy.
So absolutely on the fence, Noel. Thank you for that wild card. I don't think you've really grasped the concept of that.
Thanks.
Anyway, there was football action this weekend as well. We're going to get to that after the break with Pádraig O'Hara, and we have someone making their debut today on GAA+. So join us after that. Thanks to both the lads. We will hold you to those wild card picks next week.
McKean now coming through. This is impressive. Merlin has it. Merlin goes for it. Top corner. Donegal can score.
Down more grief on the board. Titic shot me all the board. And Martin is Canada. Lena Holland. Harrison just on. William Clough Boating and Tomas Kennedy.
Sam Callanan. Chasna Endo Deso. A Desher Void and Pepstig. Pass live Ellen. Shuffle in no shade. Chasna and Nasso.
Well, we have seasoned campaigner Pádraig O'Hara joining us in studio, but we have someone joining us for the first time today, and he's joining us online. Couldn't get the day off work. We've the recently retired, just before Christmas. We were all washed up. We've hung the boots up many years ago. 2024 All-Ireland winner, one of the great impact subs that season. It's Stefan "Soupy" Campbell from Armagh. Stefan, how are you? Good to see you.
Not too bad, Paddy. How are you, Pádraig? Hope you keep well.
It's cracked, dude.
You couldn't get the day off work to come down, no?
No, unfortunately not.
Well, listen, how have you found it, hanging up the boots? Yesterday, Armagh got off to a brilliant start. Obviously, they'd powerful performance over in Clonus against Monaghan. But stepping away before Christmas, brilliant career. How's it been?
Yeah, to be honest, the last few months have flown by. I knew we were going to get to this point, this weekend especially, where the boys were out in the park, you know, first round of the league. And
did you go into it? Did you go to the game?
I'd have to say, at no stage watching the game yesterday did I wish I was out on the field. I think I made the right decision. I've had a few months to think about it there over the summer before I put the nail in the boots. But no, the decision was made, and I'm still happy that I've made the right one.
Hey, that's a great place to be, Stefan. Look, a brilliant run, obviously. So we're delighted to have you on side with us here for GAA Plus. You'll have a bit of crack with us as well, and it's definitely easier than some of the pre-season training we were talking about beforehand. Pádraig, probably the game of the weekend yesterday on TG Carr over in Salt Hill. It was great to see the sun shining. There was fear anytime you go to Pearse Stadium. But we've seen Andy Moran's first league game kick off, and what a game. 3-18 to 2-18, and a victory for Mayo. What's the Moran mania like in Mayo at the minute?
Don't start the Moran mania yet. I woke up half sick this morning. I was wondering, was a head cold or was bloody Mayo fever coming in already? Great start, great game. But you always get it between Mayo and Galway. I think especially this time of year when there's 2 points on offer, all right, but you can be a little bit more open and expressive. And I think everybody got the first taste of maybe what this new setup is going to look like under Andy and Cullum. So yeah, good start. I think they're going to be happy. Pork Joyce isn't going to be overly pleased with some sections of the game, but overall, from a Mayo perspective, not bad.
And how, in terms of Andy's such a legendary figure, obviously within Mayo as well. Stefan Campbell, was your entire career played under Kieran McGeeney, one of the great icons of modern Gaelic football. As a player within that camp, and we'll talk about high-profile managers in a few minutes as well. As a player, Stefan, on your side with Armagh, having McGeeney there and the focus on him, does that take a bit of pressure off the players?
I think it does, especially more so when the flack does come on in the bad days. Andy doesn't strike me like the type of guy that would necessarily crave the attention, but I suppose he'll be happy to run with it for now as long as it takes the pressure off his players. And then on the flip side of that, when those dark days or maybe them heavy defeats do come, he doesn't strike me like the type of manager that will maybe send his number 2 out for Paddy Tally. Maybe they did talk it for him. So yeah, I think he's definitely the right man for the job. He's an iconic figure, as you mentioned, and it'll be interesting to see where they go after round one.
Yeah, and if we're looking specifically, I suppose, at what was different under Mayo yesterday, Park, what was some clips on Ryan O'Donoghue, what did you really see different from maybe previous Mayo regimes?
There was a few different bits from my perspective anyway. I really liked the midfield partnership they put together with Bob Toohey and Dave McBrien coming up from full back. Huge size in the middle and running power. Ryan at 11 excites me. Definitely he needs to be on the ball. We're going to see a couple of clips of him here. Ryan for me is and we came into the panel together after 2019. He's the most well-rounded footballer we have in Mayo, full stop. If he wanted to play in any position on the pitch, he's the first name on it, all the way from cornerback up because of the skill set. We've seen him as a prolific shooter and scorer for Mayo, but it's the way he carries the ball. It's the way he makes space for other people. It's simple little jinks. You cannot take the ball off him, and he's as ruthless a defender as you will ever find. You go around the country and look for tough, hard-hitting full-backs or cornerbacks. He is one of them. He really is. You don't want to get caught up with him or anywhere close to him. And then he has a skill set for winning breaking ball, picking out passes. he can just create things. So I think the more we can see Ryan O'Donoghue on the football at this position of 11, the better off Mayo are going to be.
But is that a piece that he's allowed to come out the pitch because someone like Darragh Byrne, that's like, he's such a scoring threat for Mayo, he's carried that burden Ryan O'Donoghue for the last couple of years. Him coming out the pitch, someone needs to replace that. Tommy Conroy's back from injury, Cillian O'Connor's back involved, and we seen Darragh Byrne yesterday. Does that allow Andy Moran to make those type of changes?
I wonder, like, you know, you'd wonder from not being inside the camp, but he's obviously decided this is something he wants to make happen. And I think, look, I'd imagine looking at that team from a manager's perspective, you're looking at Ryan and you're looking at the skill set. Look at that, there you got the left-footed kick pass in, you get the same off the right foot. He can just make things happen. So as good and all as he is close to goal, like, he still scored heavily yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, he still made huge things happen. The goal came off that break there. Like, he's just involved in absolutely everything. And as you said, we've got this young lad now in Darragh Byrne. Is he going to be the makings of a really, really good corner forward? It looks like it, Paddy. It's a good step anyway.
Yeah, it was a good start from. On the flip side for Pádraig, Joyce, you mentioned it, probably missing a few frontliners, but they created a lot of goal chances.
Created way too many goal chances. And
is that the risk for Mayo, that if they're playing so aggressively going forward that those gaps will appear, or is it maybe a bit of credit to Galway as well?
It looked like the high ball was going to cause a bit of trouble, and I spoke about Dave McBrien coming out from full back into the middle of the field and giving us big size in the middle, and I thought for the bulk of the game between Robbie's kickouts and the setup in the middle, we dominated the middle of the park, but there was a 5 to 10 minute window there where Galway got a bit of a foothold in the middle of the park and the high ball caused awful trouble. So we have given up a bit of height in the full back line. 5-6 goal chances in 5 minutes will, you know, you're not going to get away with it.
Never a good sign when your goalkeeper's man of the match.
No,
as brilliant as Robbie was. He was brilliant.
It was like reeling in the years, wasn't it? Watching Ado win ball out in front of Robbie come up and kick points.
I'm nearly talking about myself. Stefan, on the Armagh side, their first outing since you stepped away. And look, we've all been to Clonus for National League games against Monaghan. Normally a very, very tough place to go. Monaghan with their first game back in Division 1, but that's some performance from Armagh. The scoring, 125. What impressed you most, Stefan, from Armagh's side?
I think it was 125 from play, Paddy.
From play, sorry. Even.
Yeah. So, like, what was there not to like about it? There was obviously a range of scores. There was 11 different scores throughout the team. I think the inside forward line of Oisin O'Neill and Turbot clicked very well. But just their overall conditioning, like, I don't know if you've seen the game live, every time Armagh crossed the halfway line, it looked like they were creating a goal chance. And that was just coming from like sheer physical power and creating that overload. But I'd have to say, like, we can talk about the players Monaghan had missing. Obviously, Scottstown went on a run, but if we look at that Armagh team, like, you still have McKay to come in, you have Falker to come in, you have Creeley to come in, Ross McQuillan only plays 15 minutes, you have Doran McMullen and potentially Rory Gregan still to come into that side. But I was very impressed, but we'll not get carried away just yet. As I say, it's round one.
You're not in the camp anymore, Stefan. You can tell us what you think. Like.
Yeah, no, look, Geezer would have targeted this game when the draw was made. Obviously, realistically, it was probably the biggest opportunity for points in the road, knowing that Monaghan were going to be down players. But I thought they were excellent in their transition. They probably left a bit behind. They tried to walk a ball into the net late on, and it could have easily been a 15 or 16 point game. But they were very impressive.
But isn't that, Stefan, like, you mentioned the players that Armagh are missing, those frontliners, the more seasoned campaigners nearly. That's a credit to what Geezer and that management team have done over the last 4 or 5 seasons, that there seems to be nearly 25, 28, nearly 30 players there Armagh can choose from, and there's not a drop-off in terms of just that power, that athleticism, that intensity. It looks like they're in a really, really good place as a team.
Yeah, and I think obviously with the amount of guys that left the panel last year, like, I'd say the consensus outside of Armagh is that Armagh is going to struggle. But the reality is we carried 42 players that won in All-Ireland less than 2 years ago. And I know 8 or 9 had left. They've brought top here, but I think that was the main difference. In Clonus, you seen Armagh that had a squad that was deep in talent and in numbers, and Monaghan just probably didn't have that outside of the Scottstown element to that.
Yes, so a positive start for Armagh on Saturday night. probably one of the biggest games, the marquee games of the weekend, just outside in horrendous conditions. We've seen Dublin take on Donegal, Jim McGuinness's first trek back with his team after last July's All-Ireland final defeat to Kerry. We said last week, Pádraig, that the Dubs, it could be a bit of an up and down season for them. Lots of new faces, both on the pitch and on the sideline as well. And they got a tough start against Donegal on Saturday night.
Didn't they just? Wasn't an ideal start for them anyway, by any means.
Yeah, we've a couple of clips just to show. Look, Donegal, I thought, were excellent as well. A lot of frontliners, as Stefan was alluding to there. Donegal seem to have hit the ground running as well. Like an opening goal.
But just like Mayo there, they found another corner forward there, Shane Malone.
Shane Malone.
We've got a man from the League of Ireland stepping in.
From Dublin side of things, look, the game only finished at 3 points, but I think Donegal at different stages, a couple of 2-pointers from Langan. Defensively from Dublin, is that going to be a challenge for them?
Not good enough. And you know, I've been on the receiving end of it sometimes, you know, when they get the clip and you have to do the video analysis the week after that goal. Just a lethargic approach to defending and not chasing back was not good enough there for Dublin. Look, it's round one is the other side of it there. And as you said, this is a complete restructure and restart for Dublin. Donegal, people will forget how good Donegal were last year. A lot of people watched the All-Ireland final and tried to judge Donegal's year on that. And like, we spent a lot of time watching them last year. They had one of the best campaigns of all.
Back Ulster champions, yeah.
Huge run, played massive games, were tested throughout. And they're a really, really strong outfit. The likes of Michael Lang and Darragh Boyle. Boys have put in a serious year last year, and I think they're going to be right there knocking again this year.
Work for the Dubs to do, but Donegal seem in a really good place. We said we'd talk about high-profile managers, Kieran McGeeney and Andy Moran. Stefan, Jim McGuinness, he probably a little bit spiky when he was questioned by some journalists, Tommy Rooney and Cahir O'Kane, after the game. Just asked about, like, it's the first time Jim McGuinness has spoken really to national media since the All-Ireland final defeat. Was he going to make any changes to the tactics or any tweaks on the basis of that defeat to Kerry last year? He's sticking to his guns. What did you make of that, Stefan?
Yeah, initially I just thought it was a bit early for Jim to be losing a run on himself and having a go at the media, especially after round one. But I just think he was just deliberately trying to nip that in the bud. I just think he's been sick of hearing, he's been sick of reading about his potential flaws, his preparation for that All-Ireland final, and I just think he's sick of listening to that narrative outside of the camp. And, you know, I think it was a deliberate response for him to ensure that this isn't the type of question, and he just wants to move it forward and forget about last year's defeat. Yeah,
and look, I suppose it's fair that people are going to ask about it because, as you said, apart, Jim McGuinness and Donegal had an incredible run, back-to-back Ulster champions. They're one of the favourites for the All-Ireland this year again. But that final, they were outplayed by Kerry. Do Donegal need to make any tweaks to what they're doing? They've obviously brought in some young players there that we've seen on Saturday night, but do we expect to see anything different from Donegal, even tweaks to what's brought them success throughout the season?
I don't know, they definitely don't need to reinvent the wheel here anyway, there's no question about it. And look, the All-Ireland final went the way it did and the tactics didn't pan out. Personally, if I'm in Jim McGuinness's camp, I'm delighted with his response. It's just like, do you know what? Go away, leave us alone. We don't care. It's over and done with it. It's 2026 now, like. Get over it.
Time to move on.
He's all Donegal, you know, and they do like to build that mob mentality, that us against the world mentality. And he's started out as he means to go on, and fair play to him. But I don't think they need to change a whole pile. They did an awful lot well last year, and they've got big players. They're only getting better. As I said, I really think they're going to be in with a good run.
I think so. Donegal are going to be right there. On to the next. The All-Ireland champions were in action yesterday in Killarney, and we had more managers a little bit frustrated with how things were going. Jack O'Connor, an unbelievable
What a finish.
Tomas Kennedy, have Kerry found another superstar in their ranks?
Hopefully for everybody else not, no.
No. A brilliant game. Kerry victory just by the skin of the teeth against Roscommon. Jack O'Connor frustrated with the 50-metre penalty rule. Roscommon a bit frustrated with the hooter rule, literally a buzzer beater right at the last for Kerry to get the points. The 50-metre rule, lads. Stefan, bring you on this. You were playing the game last year at that level. It seems very, very penal, just for people who hadn't seen Jack O'Connor's comments. Not handing the ball straight back to an opponent is penalised with a 50-metre penalty, but you're at inter-county level in particular, forwards are then bringing it out the 2-point arc. Dermot Murtagh did it yesterday and kicked it for Roscommon. We've seen the Munster Club final, St Finbarr's lost at the Dingle in the same circumstances. It seems like a very, very harsh penalty for a pretty innocuous challenge. Stefan, your thoughts on it, or what was the conversations in the Armagh camp around that rule?
Yeah, I was just going to mention the Bars game from the Munster final. For me, it's too aggressive. I think we just need to forget about it. There's like, what do you do if you're going to hand the ball back? The referee only has two eyes. He's looking in a different direction. The ball gets slapped out of his hand. He looks around, sees the ball on the ground, moves it up 50 yards. For me, it's probably one of the few rules they've probably got wrong, and I think they need to go back and look at that, to be honest.
Do you think they will, Pádraig? It feels like it's deciding games, and it's a very, very harsh penalty.
It's too harsh a penalty. Like, I get it. I get the idea behind it. It's a good idea because you can slow down the play, you can throw the ball away. I get it. It makes sense, but it's just not working. That 50-metre penalty is huge. If it's deciding games, you can't. And I couldn't agree with you more. Like, you can manipulate it. Like, we'll always manipulate every rule there is.
Well, you're a defender now. Myself and Stefan, we'd be all right.
Yeah, he wouldn't
we'd be the
break
ones
any
getting
rules
done
at
for
all.
But look, we'll keep an eye on that over the weekend. It was a brilliant game, a brilliant series of games in Division 1 all the way down to Division 4. Now, lads, similar to what we did with our hurling counterparts, a few more games to pick from, 16 games this weekend. Stefan, we'll let you, since it's your debut, you can kick off the weekly wildcard from any one of the 4 divisions. What do we see as the biggest upset coming up this weekend, and a reason why?
I had a look at the fixtures, and I don't believe there's going to be too many upsets. I struggle to
You
pick
haven't
this
read the
wild
brief
card.
either, have you?
Well, I'm going to go for Offaly
To beat?
away to Kildare.
Wait till there. Shout.
Division 3 final last year. Offaly nicked it against Kildare and Croke Park. Would that be a major upset?
I would.
Kildare
went well.
Based on Kildare's performance in Tyrone.
It's hard to back it up again the second week, you feel?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to back it up. It remains to be seen, but I'm going to go with Offaly. They're also on a crest of a wave the last couple of years, and it'll be interesting to see if they can continue with that momentum.
We'll give you that one. Pádraig, who's the big wild card? Mayo to beat the Dubs?
Mayo will probably beat Dublin anyway, so it's not really that wild. Do you know? Hopefully, anyway. And that will put Dublin under quite pressure after game 2. But no, for me, I'm going to go a little bit out there, all right, and say that Monaghan will beat Roscommon. Considering Roscommon play really well down Kerry, in fairness, and they will feel hard done by to not come away with a point. And Monaghan didn't perform at all. But they're dogged. There's something about Monaghan. They don't tend to, fall.
They won't lie down
too
a second
often.
week in a row.
No,
Yeah.
and they're survivors if there was ever survivors. So I think they go to the Hyde with the right attitude, and somehow, I think Scottstown guys are back in, hopefully, too, with a bit more in the arsenal to beat Roscommon.
Okay, that's not bad, lads. Stefan, thanks very much for joining us. We'll let you get back to work. Hopefully we'll get you down to the studio next time, and we'll keep an eye on Offaly down in St. Conleth's Park in Newbridge this weekend for the wild card. On to competition time, guys. So for anyone listening at home who would fancy to brave the weather next weekend and would like 2 tickets to an Allianz League game of their choice, all you have to do, log on to our YouTube channel and make any sort of comment, a nice comment. We'll be scanning the comments, and you can win 2 tickets to any Allianz League game of your choice this weekend. And thanks again to Stefan for joining us. Right, we've got our experts back. It's very cosy here now. To finish off this week's show, a new segment, we have, you have your red buzzers there, game show host here. Not just yet, but we're going to finish with a quiz. Now, we're looking through these questions. These are actually quite
You
difficult.
can see the answers now.
I need
We're
to,
looking over
trust me,
the show.
even if we can see them, we'll still get them wrong.
The buzzer blitz. Now, the buzzer got people into trouble yesterday down in Killarney, but this is going to be a bit more lighthearted than what we see between Kerry and Roscommon. So we have a quiz every week, 30 seconds. These are pretty hard questions, like. And if anyone gives out about it,
Questions about the weekend, Paddy, yes.
about the weekend and life in general.
Okay.
Yeah, general knowledge. The producers made us do this, so if this doesn't go
They
well,
come up
just
with questions as
blame the guys behind. I don't know the answers to half these as well. Okay, 30 seconds. First man with the buzzer gets the answer, and if he misses it, it will pass to one of your rivals. We will keep score on this at home, guys, so the quiz champion, the buzzer blitz champion by the end of the Allianz Leagues, we'll see. There's a little trophy for that. Question 1, football related, so you already have half a chance. Who scored the winning point for Kerry against Roscommon? Eoin Kelly.
Tomas Kennedy.
Very good. 1 for Eoin. Pádraig, you're the football man.
Speed of that.
Very
Let me
good,
question
Eoin. Very
finished.
good. Question 2. In Division 2 hurling, you're under serious pressure here. How many goals did Kerry score in the win over Derry? No, you don't have to break the thing. Jesus. You need a new buzzer for no.
5 and 3.
The answer is 5. Correct.
Very
good, very
Jesus,
good.
lads.
I have to check myself. Question 3. Which Division 3 football game is the only one that ended level at the weekend?
I don't know.
You should lose a point for just buzzing in with
that's
no
first
idea
on
about
now.
the answer. Pass it on to between two of you.
Was it Clare?
No, it's on you. All the time you need. Division 3, the only game that ended in a draw.
Let's say no. It's not Offaly. No.
No. Okay, let's just move on. It was Laois versus Limerick. I have to check myself.
Bad enough people think.
Question 4. Which football goalkeeper finished the game with 9 points?
Rob Henley, no?
No, he was 6, was he?
He
No.
was on 6.
No answer.
Who had 9?
I told you these questions are too hard. We're going to have to move on. Mark Jackson is the answer.
Michael, no?
You get a point for being quickest on the buzzer.
No, I think you should lose one off.
You're -2.
Hey, more back to the hurl. Who scored the last minute goal for Wexford to beat Antrim in Division 1?
Mark Fanny.
That is correct. Noel is up and running. Very good.
That's my second one now, Paddy. Relax.
That's it too. Okay.
All right,
Park,
all
you're
right.
really strong.
I haven't even hit
you
the
got
buzzer.
carried away with that
Are you
Mayo
in finance,
Dublin
Paddy,
comment.
He broke the buzzer first.
How many points? Question 6. How many points did Mark Rogers finish the game with against Dublin?
It's me 11.
11. Yeah.
Very
Right.
good. No, we have one more question. They're telling me to stop it here now, but last question. Park, I'll give you a football one.
Will you give me a
Please
chance,
get
will
this.
ya?
2, 2 and 0. -1 for the Dublin comment. Which number of seasons is this in charge for Armagh manager Kieran McGeaney?
I thought this
Owen,
was his
speak to
question.
you. Owen, speak to you.
Come on, is this his question? He doesn't know this.
I'm going to say 7.
Oh, gee, not even close.
4.
I was going to say like 11.
Plus 4, 11.
11.
Well,
Is it 11?
It was so bad, I'm not giving you any.
What is it? How many?
It is 11.
Is it
What is
11?
it? I got 3, so.
No, I didn't get
2 for Eoin Kelly.
How can a man do anything like
got
that? for
3.
like-
12.
2 and 0.
-1.
Someone in my ear is telling me it's 12. We'll just cancel that.
Either way,
Yeah,
No one knew
cancel
the
that
answer.
question.
nobody got
Kieran
it.
McGeaney is the longest serving inter-county football manager. Anyway, 2 for Owen, 2 for Noel, Pádraig, minus
It's like
4 for
Ireland
you.
knowing much better.
Anyway, that's the end of today's show. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Diabolical finish to the show. We need a new buzzer for Noel. Aisling is going to be back on Friday with the preview show, and we might have some substitutes in the studio next Monday to review the weekend's action. But thank you all for joining us. Leave your comments under the YouTube page if you want to win 2 tickets to an Allianz game of your choice. Thanks to the lads and thanks to everyone for tuning in. Back to work and back to school.